Okay, so this color is not for everyone, but then again, neither is the rest of the Volvo EX30. This adorable little electric SUV captured my imagination when it debuted a few years ago and was one of my most anticipated affordable EVs of 2024. Well, after a few hiccups with its launch, it's finally here in 2025, and while it's not as affordable as I'd have liked, let's hit the road and see if it's still a pretty good value. But first, what are we talking about? The EX30 is the entry point to Volvo's entire lineup, its smallest model and its smallest electric SUV. Here in the States, we only get the dual motor configuration with an impressive 422 horsepower and gobs of torque. So equipped with the standard 69 kilowatt hour battery, you're looking at 253 miles between your recharges when you're taking it easy, or 0 to 60 sprints in just 3.4 seconds when you're not, making this also the quickest Volvo in the current lineup. Now you can charge overnight at a level 2 home charging station or trickle charge at a level 1 outlet. At a DC fast charging station, you can go from 10% to around 80% in under 30 minutes. And should you find yourself at a Tesla supercharger, this NACS to CCS adapter has you covered. Now with the open road ahead of us, the EX30 is just a delight to drive. Not much in the way of bells or whistles or complicated driving modes, just a steering wheel, 2 pedals, and 422 horsepower at your beck and call. This thing is zippy. Now, the weight distribution of the battery pack combined with the suspension tuning means that you have a nice planted ride, and you do have 3 different steering modes to choose from: soft, medium, and firm. I prefer firm because it feels like it's got a little bit better control. Now around town, the dual motor system feels just as good, with plenty of torque that's easy to meter out and control. Now, whether you're on the highway or around town, you have your choice between either a coast when lifting the accelerator or 1-pedal driving mode. I've got them set up to toggle here on the steering wheel, but that's mostly because I prefer coasting on long stretches of interstate and the control of 1-pedal driving on surface and twisty roads. I should note that the 1-pedal mode here feels more like the high regen level on most other EVs I've tested. It'll bring the car to a stop, but it's so gradual that I end up on the brake pedal anyway. However, I was recently able to test the EX30 Cross Country in Sweden, which features an updated regen program with 3 regen modes and an even stronger true 1-pedal mode. I believe that software update will be coming to the standard EX30, later this year. While rolling, let's talk a little bit about the driver aid systems. Adaptive Cruise Control is standard, but this Ultra spec has been upgraded with Volvo's Pilot Assist system. Now that's going to give you a high level of lane keeping and centering on marked highways, and a bit smarter distance control than the standard Adaptive Cruise. You activate the system by pushing down on the stalk right here, and you deactivate it by doing the same. If I've got one nitpick about the safety systems, it's that I've noticed during my week of testing that on my neighborhood streets, the forward collision alert system had a tendency to trigger false positives when there was a solo car parked along the side of the road. Now, it hasn't slammed the brakes on me yet, but the beeping and flashing lights are annoying enough that I've gone into the menus and set the alert system for the latest it can possibly be, which maybe isn't the best for overall safety. Inside the EX30's cabin is minimalist, sparse even. Around the cabin, you'll find a lot of use of recycled and post-consumer materials, which are easy enough to wipe clean, if not a bit cheap sounding. There are no speakers in the door cards, which actually frees up a bit of storage space down there. Instead, you have a sound bar across the base of the windshield. And also, there's no conventional digital instrument cluster. Instead, we have a large central display powered by Android Automotive OS with Google built in. So that gets you a top level up here with your conventional instrument cluster information. Google Maps in the middle, which is nice because it's connected to the web, though you can download maps offline, and it does feature things like charging station information and estimated state of charge on arrival. You've got Google Assistant for voice command and the Google Play Store for downloading apps for audio streaming while you're driving, video streaming while you're parked, and so much more. Android Auto and Apple CarPlay are supported, wired and wirelessly, though they can be a little bit awkward to use since they live in a box inside of the Google built-in interface, which leads to potentially confusing situations where you may, for example, be running 2 versions of Google Maps, one on your phone and one in the car. But if you're careful, you can avoid that pretty easily. Overall, while I would prefer more physical controls for things like a volume knob and less hunting around in menus for things like adjusting the mirrors, given the EX30's pretty basic feature set, this works pretty well, and the software is rather intuitive and easy enough to get used to after just about a day or so. The 2025 Volvo EX30 was supposed to arrive with a less expensive single motor configuration that would get the starting price to the mid $30K ballpark. However, for a variety of logistical and political reasons, the brand decided to only bring the dual motor plus an ultra configuration stateside, resulting in a starting price of $46,194 before destination, or $47,895 for this ultra spec with its upgraded driver assistance features and creature comforts. That's a slightly harder pill to swallow, especially for an entry-level subcompact SUV / large hatchback. Don't get me wrong, I'm still a huge fan of the 2025 Volvo EX30, especially in this color and especially its claim to being the quickest Volvo you can buy today. But I don't know if I would have compromised affordability in order to stake that claim. As is, this is less of an appeal to drivers who are looking for the best electric bang for the least amount of buck. Instead, it's a more premium option for drivers who don't mind spending a little bit more for its minimalist style and outstanding performance. Be sure to head over to CNET.com where I've got an even deeper dive into the EX30 here, as well as how it compares to other vehicles in its class. And if you've got questions about electric cars or any type of car, including this one here, leave it down in the comments below and I'll try to answer it on an upcoming episode. Drive safe, and I'll see you next time.